Welcome to Greenwood Hill Farm. This is shearing day. We're starting our shearing process of our wool today. My wife Andrea is here with me, and we have all of our work crew, and we're going to start our shearing here. He's going to shear the sheep on that piece of plywood in there. When he's trying to put the animal to get it down to lay down on its back, is he puts his fingers in there where there are no teeth, and he turns the head. In the meantime, he's got his hip pushing on the animal, who then they push back. They have a tendency to want to push back. And when he's ready to turn the head, he just steps away from them, and they collapse over from the weight of themselves pushing back. Well, she's very, very calm, and there's a couple of reasons for it. One, it's how he's handling her. He's got his feet planted around her. He's got underneath her shoulder, he has a foot in there, and that gives her comfort. And she's not on a hip where she's in an uncomfortable position. And then beyond that, she's never been harmed by a human being. The black sheep, the black gene in sheep is a recessive gene. If I breed white sheep in large numbers, and this happens out west in the large commercial flocks, they'll get about a 3 or 4% of black lambs that'll be born. The black fiber does not dye well, so commercially black sheep don't exist. They just don't raise them. They use them as markers. They'll put one black lamb in with every 100 in a bunch that they run out. So when they bring them in, they only have to count the black sheep. It took us about 8 years of selective breeding, using blacks and taking black bucks and breeding them to white ewes, then taking the black ewes off of them and breeding them back to another black. They have over 60,000 fiber follicles in a square inch of skin. They also excrete lanolin in every one of those follicles. So if you do nick them, it heals up. It'll be gone in the morning. We take these fleeces to the spinnery, and it goes through their scouring process, and it's a small spinnery, and so their scouring train is not a huge, robust thing that can take lots of wool at a time. They do it a fleece at a time, and these sheep are, they're really greasy fleece. I mean, it feels greasy when you touch them. It's lanolin. I can feel it on my hands already, and they always complain about our fleeces because we're the ones that bring in we're the only ones that have merinos and have those fine fleeces. We had so many people think they're allergic to wool, or they're having a negative impact by just wool that is really coarse, which is not what this is, and also by the chemicals that are used to process the wool. So we have our wool processed at a mill up in Vermont that is they use an organic soap to wash it. They use canola oil for a spinning oil for us. So it's all a natural product. All the colors are natural colors.
No.
And it goes out just like it came off. And by looking at the length of this, we call this the staple, the length of the strand. And ideally, this would be a little bit shorter for 1 year. So this is about an 18-month fleece. We were planning on shearing in December, but his schedule and my schedule just got really messed up. And when it got straightened out between the two of us, my ewes were about ready to have babies, and that's just not a good time to be tossing them around. So what we did is we just put it off till after that was done. That happened about 2 weeks ago. So here we are. We're trying to get this done today. They're going through and they're looking for stained wool, and because we want to have white wool. This is down where it's urinated on its fleece, and we just don't want that. It'll cause the wool, instead of to be bright white, it'll have a cream color to it. So because it does have fecal material on it, but also it absorbs water and keeps water and moisture. So if you're going to pot a plant, if you put about 1 inch of wool in the bottom of it, that'll retain the moisture and help you use less water, frankly. The plants will be healthier, and it, by the way, is degradable. It doesn't degrade overnight, but it will degrade. You'll notice I can pick out myself. These are called second cuts, and they're real short fibers. And we don't want that in the fleece, because if you look at this, it's a very short fiber. It'll knit up fine, but when you start wearing that sweater, this stuff's going to come out and cause those dang pills. And that's where they come from. They come from short fiber or broken fiber. And when the sheep are in the shed all winter, or in the barn most of the winter, they're taking their hay from a feeder, and they have a tendency to eat their hay and then chew it over the back of the one next to them, and then it ends up in the fleece. And that's why we really prefer to shear in November, December. That fiber is, the ones that you can see are actually 2 or 3 or 4 fibers together. It's really, really fine. When this is done, and when she's done with it, then we just kind of roll it up a little bit and we throw it up into that bin up there. So here we are at the final stages. We've skirted the wool, and now we've put it in one of these big long plastic tubes. And right now we have one of our young Hubbardston residents. So Henry's in here stomping this and packing it down so that we can get as much possible into this wool bag down. And this is how we get it ready to go to the mill. That is, we take that bag to the mill up in Vermont, the Green Mountain Spinnery, and they spin Andrea's yarns for her. And she's been working with them for over 25 years, and they have a color code that they match to. We raise white merinos and black merinos. The black has a little bit of a sun bleach on the end of it, because they get sun bleached in the summer, and that makes it a little bit brown. So we don't call it a black yarn, we call it dark chocolate. But she takes some of the dark chocolate and some of the white, and she blends it in 2 different blends, and she gets something she calls slate, which is like a pewter color, a darker color, and silver. And then she has it done in both a sport or a DK weight, and in a worsted weight, which is kind of more of a New England type. Maybe the next time you see us, we're going to be getting ready to go to a festival, and we'll show you what the wool looks like after it comes back from the mill.